Welcome into the Breneman and Butt Show. Why is it the Breneman Butt Show? Well, because Adam's the man. My alma mater fell short of the standard last weekend, and Penn State is dominating the headlines with their coaching hire, which we will get to in a second. But more importantly, it is the Big Ten championship game this weekend. It's number 1 versus number 2. It's Ohio State, Indiana. 2 of the best offenses, best defenses, best head coaches. And I'd say the winner of this game, in terms of quarterback, should win the Heisman. Just wheel the Heisman, ship it, drive it, fly it, whatever you need to do. Have the Heisman ceremony on the field after the game when you're handing out the championship trophy. So, Bren, really excited for this weekend, man. Good to see you. What's your thoughts about this game?
Yeah, it's good to see you. I appreciate the Breneman and Butt Show, what it should be called the whole time. I appreciate it, Jake. Yeah, so much on the line in this game. What a fun conference championship game to have. I don't want to hear anyone talk about how, excuse me, I don't want to hear anyone talk about how these conference championship games aren't important. I don't even care if it doesn't impact the playoff seeding all that much. We've been in those locker rooms, Jake. These two teams want to desperately win a Big Ten championship. What do you want to do as a player? You want to make the playoff. You want to win your conference title. That's what you're aiming for all year long. These two programs have a chance to do it. Indiana's last Big Ten championship was 1967. 1967. Don't tell me there's nothing to play for since both these teams have basically clinched first-round buys. I know there's some debate about that. But also, the Buckeyes, 2020, their last time. You don't think Ryan Day wants to be back in the title for this big championship? There's so much on the line here, Jake.
I can tell you, when we met with Ryan Day, I called 2 Ohio State games this year. I mean, he flat out told us, he's like, listen, the guys in the locker room, they do not have a Big Ten championship. This means something to our program. And I also say, Adam, it's the man in the arena quote. All those people that are saying, oh, it doesn't matter, that is the mindset of a loser. The mindset of a champion is every opportunity you take the field with an expectation and desire to win. You don't just flip it on and off and say, oh, we'll go easy this game to not get hurt. No, this game absolutely matters. So you make a great point. I'm sorry, I have to interject.
No, I think it's a phenomenal point. There's so much in stake. You mentioned the Heisman Trophy implications of this game. Whoever wins this game wins the Heisman Trophy.
If you had a vote right now, where would you go?
Julian Sayin.
Why?
Because he's been the better quarterback, he's been more efficient, and he has the better team. And I think Ohio State's the best team in the country.
I agree with you.
Are you going Mendoza?
No, I agree with you. And Mendoza, I understand the Heisman moment. And Oregon Road, Iowa Road, Penn State Road, big-time Heisman moments, absolutely. But the context is they needed a Heisman moment because he threw interceptions, and he wasn't efficient, and he wasn't dominant. Whereas I look at Julian Sayin, he wasn't playing in the fourth quarter against Penn State because he was dominant and flawless in his process. Dominated Michigan. They never even sniffed him in the pocket. Cold weather, all that. So I would go Julian Sayin's Heisman moment is his body of work throughout the season. But look, if Mendoza can crack the code of figuring out how to score and put up points against this Buckeye defense and Matt Patricia's defense, then absolutely he deserves the Heisman. I think it's that close of a race.
Yeah, and I really think it's just whoever wins this game. Like if Mendoza beats Ohio State, he will win the Heisman. If Julian Sayin wins this game, even if he doesn't have an electric game, Julian Sayin will and should win the Heisman. I think this will be the most fun conference championship game to be at in Indianapolis. And we got to stand up for the Big Ten here. I mean, I know the SEC must-watch TV. It's going to be a fun game. But this game in Indy is going to be electric.
Yeah.
Ohio State hasn't been to Indy since 2020. The Buckeye fans will be out in full force, but the kicker is IU, Indiana. I mean, their fans right in their backyard. People sleep on this fan base, but it's in Indianapolis. These Indiana fans, again, last time they won this game was 1967. This will be an awesome environment. Indianapolis will be rocking.
The benefit the SEC has, and I'll give it to them, it's hey, there's possible playoff implications of like what happens if Alabama lose. So you get the benefit of uncertainty. But what the Big Ten has that no one else has is these have been Ohio State and Indiana, the two best teams in college football all season long. They're undefeated. They've been on a collision course. You have a titan and historic program in Ohio State, and then you have Cignetti, a guy who in his opening pep rally says, hey, Purdue, we're coming for you. Pauses and says, and you know what? We're coming for Ohio State and Michigan too. And he took down Michigan last year, fell short to Ohio State. Their team's even better this year. And it's now that collision course. For me, Brent, a few matchups I'm looking out for. Julian saying Ohio State right now has given up the second fewest sacks on the season. No one has touched Julian saying. I thought Michigan would. They didn't. He's so great operationally in the pocket. And the Buckeye offensive line is completely dominant right now. I mean, they are a balanced, dominant offense. Can Indiana make him uncomfortable and sack him and hit him? Then on the flip side with Mendoza, can he identify the coverages, the pressure packages? Can Indiana consistently run the ball against Ohio State? Not many teams, actually no teams, have been able to consistently run the ball. I think Indiana needs to be balanced, and I would say Mendoza's legs have to come alive, especially in the red zone. No one scored red zone touchdowns against Ohio State's defense. As soon as Michigan was kicking field goals, I said, they're not going to win this game. Indiana needs to find a way to score touchdowns in the red zone to beat Ohio State rather than field goals.
Yeah. The one matchup that clearly indicates to me Indiana's fate in Indianapolis, you look at some of their stats against Oregon, against Iowa, against Penn State. Indiana rushed for under 110 yards in those 3 games. Against the other 9 teams they played, 250 yards a game on the ground. So when they've played good run defenses, they haven't run the ball well, even though their offense in those other 9 games has thrived on that efficiency and staying ahead of the chains and putting Fernando Mendoza in good spots. You talk about those turnovers Fernando Mendoza's had. Well, why has he had them? Because in those games when they can't run the ball well, he's in 3rd down and long, he's in 2nd and long, and more turnovers happen on 3rd and long than any other down and distance in football. Yeah. Ohio State has the best rushing defense in the country, and it's not even particularly close. I mean, they are dominant against the run. But, Jake, Indiana has the playmakers to threaten this defense vertically enough that I think could open up the run game somewhat for Indiana. Early in this game, I'm going to be watching how's Indiana running the ball on 1st and 2nd down. Can they get 4 yards here and 6 yards here and 5 yards here? Can they get an explosive run in the first quarter to open things up a little bit and then keep taking those shots down the field that will open up the run game? It's kind of the reverse. A lot of times, hey, let's run the ball to open up the pass. I think it's kind of push the ball down the field to try to open up some of the run game against this Ohio State elite run defense. That's going to be the matchup. If Indiana can't run the ball, Jake, I don't see a path to victory.
I completely agree. And I even throw in Wisconsin there because they have a great rushing defense. Those are the games when Indiana has struggled to run it. And, you know, I think watching the Michigan game back, there was players open in the seams. Ohio State runs a lot of single high coverage. Those seams are open. Bryce Underwood just completely missed him. Mendoza will not miss him. So there's some chunk play opportunities if Mendoza can stay clean in the pocket. So,
dude, how good of a hire was Matt Patricia?
I mean, said it was the best hire of any assistant coach the entire offseason, and it's clear. It's not even close, in my opinion. And he's got to win the Broyles.
It has to win the Broyles Award. Matt Patricia has, I mean, just in the Ohio State defense was already great, right? You already had high standards and a high floor when he got there. But man, this is like truly an NFL defense. And I don't just mean by scheme. I mean by the intensity, by the speed they play with on defense, by the players he has on defense. I mean, it's really unbelievable. What a great job by Ryan Day getting him in there.
They replaced their entire defensive line. Kenyatta Jackson, I think he's going to be a first-round pick. Caden McDonald, their nose, is being discussed as a first-round pick. Arvell Reese discussed as maybe the top pick overall. Sonny Styles as a linebacker is a force, will be a first-round pick. Caleb Downs is a first-round pick. They got better even replacing all of those players. But I also say with Indiana, like we can't discredit the players that Indiana has in their defensive front, their linebacker. Pons outside, this is going to be a fun matchup and big test for him in coverage against those Buckeye wide receivers. So I will say this, my Fansville hype man moment presented by Dr. Pepper. It's these two fan bases, and to the victor goes the spoils. I'll be a politician here and say whatever team wins gets to be the Fansville hype man. What an awesome opportunity.
I like it. I'll take my Fansville hype man of the Indiana fans because they got this game in their backyard. What a phenomenal season they've had. Kirk Cinetti has done a great job, but everyone plays to win the game. I know that, but for Indiana fans, just remember, number one, you're the Fansville hype man, so you should go to this game and just embrace the environment, embrace the fact, and appreciate what Kirk Cinetti's done in just a couple years there at Indiana. The fact that they're playing in this game and you have appreciate the players you're seeing, appreciate Fernando Mendoza and the great season they put together. Because even if you lose, I think it's one heck of a story, and then get ready for the college football playoff.
No doubt. It's going to be a fun matchup, fun weekend of matchups. I mean, so many fun storylines this season on the field. We got to talk about off the field, some big coaching hires. Let's start with Michigan State, who knows who their next head coach will be, hiring former Northwestern head coach Pat Fitzgerald. I'll have the opening word here, Bren. I remember if I didn't go to Michigan, I was going to Northwestern because Pat Fitzgerald was the head coach there and he was recruiting me. And I don't remember any words specifically. I just remember how he made me feel as a player. I said, I want to get behind that guy. I believed him as a head coach. And I think that sticks and resonates in today's environment, even with NIL. But also, you look at the success he had there, taking his team to multiple Big Ten title appearances. I understand the record on his way out of Northwestern, but he had a number of successful seasons, and it sounds like Michigan State is going to support him with a significant competitive NIL budget and budget to bring in a support staff full of coordinators and assistant coaches. In all this chaos of the coaching hire, I just think this was such a sound quality hire from Michigan State, a stable hire. If I'm a Michigan State Spartan fan right now, I am extremely happy knowing Fitzgerald's our next head coach.
Yeah, I give Michigan State a lot of credit for pulling the trigger on this hire and making it happen when they did. Given how Pat Fitzgerald's tenure ended at Northwestern, they knew. I think in that situation you anticipate some backlash, but really, man, it has been met positively by everyone. All the players are excited. Michigan State going all in on the NIL side, as you mentioned, Jake, is extremely critical. No matter who your head coach is, if you're not resourced, if there's not alignment, you're not going to be able to win.
Yeah.
I never met Pat Fitzgerald. He didn't recruit me, probably because he was recruiting you, Jake, and thought you were more physical.
You were the number one tight end in high school in our class.
But I was more of a receiver. I didn't really fit into the Northwestern DNA there. But from everyone I know who's played for him, everyone raves about Pat Fitzgerald and the kind of coach and person and leader he is. I saw a clip of him at the Michigan State basketball game, and he just looked. He was excited to be there, got everyone fired up, but he also looked like he was relieved and back where he wanted to be, in a head coaching chair, doing what he loves, past all the drama and the BS that he went through at Northwestern. So I'm happy for Pat Fitzgerald and happy for Michigan State fans.
It's a true thing where it's like, I mean, it's that age-old adage, you don't know what you got until it's gone. And it's one of those things where it's taken away from you. And once you're a football coach, nothing will ever scratch that itch. You don't just suddenly not become a coach. And I know these past few years only fanned the flames of the fire of desire in his heart and soul. So great hire for the Spartans. The dominant headline news right now is your alma mater.
We don't need to go there. We don't have to talk about it.
I mean, there's nothing firm. I got to imagine there's no, we've heard a number of names, and yet there's no confirmation of a head coach. I don't want to ask you to predict anything unless you're comfortable. I just want to ask you just the feeling around the program and what does this mean for Penn State?
There's been rumors, and it's been reported by credible people, that Penn State went after Mike Elko and Kalen DeBoer and Lincoln Riley and all these big coaches. And I think Penn State thought they'd be able to get them, and they were wrong. I also think there's a narrative that, hey, if Penn State just fired James Franklin, who played almost for a national championship a year before, how long am I going to be welcome at Happy Valley, right? And I know everyone at Penn State says, well, Franklin was here 12 years, and then you had Paterno. But it's about right now. And Penn State made a move that they did because they want to win a national title. It's going to be tough to convince a coach to leave a good situation to come to Penn State when if I don't beat Ohio State my first year, everyone's going to say, well, why the heck did we fire Franklin then? Why did we hire this guy? So I think that's narrative. Let me end on a positive note. I still think there's an opportunity here to get it right. I think Terry Smith should be the hire for Penn State at this point. He has the support of the locker room. He's got all the fans and alumni. He wants to be there. I saw a video of Kalani Sitake crying at his press conference yesterday after signing his extension, saying, this place means so much to me. It was the Penn State job, so it was hard to say no to, but I love BYU and I want to be there forever. I love the people. Man, we have a guy right now at Penn State who is crying in a press conference because he loves Penn State so much. Because he wants to be here and he cares about these kids. And it's Terry Smith. I think at this point, it's the right thing to do.
To go back to your point, I completely agree. But, the number one thing when you talk to people and that coaches is you understand going into the industry that there's no job security. You're often moving every 2 or 3 years, and that's the number one concern. And, subconsciously what was communicated when Penn State moved off of James Franklin is think about how successful he was. And if you don't exceed that, you will also be fired, which basically what has been communicated to all these prospects is, if you're not winning Big Ten titles and competing for national titles and winning national titles very quickly, you will meet the same fate that James Franklin met. And that's just not an attractive sales pitch to anyone, except for a guy like Terry Smith, potentially, that loves the university. Adam, I just want to say this, because I ended my season calling Penn State Rutgers, and I think that you could look at, yes, Penn State had an emotional boost under Terry Smith, but I also look at things he did as a head coach. He made adjustments offensively. Let's get the ball to Katron Allen. Let's push the ball down the field more. He made adjustments defensively. He's been out recruiting. He's doing that job, not knowing if he'll even be the head coach. So there are instances to look at and be like, Terry Smith has done much more than just provide an emotional head boost in terms of what a head coach would be asked to do.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. Terry Smith has done a great job. That offense looks completely different for Penn State the last few weeks than it looked those first 6 games of the season. So
and the players love him
on that call. Great job on the call. I watched it back.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a bowl game. I mean, so it is chaos. That's part of the reason we love college football. That means you'll experience good times and bad times as a fan, as we all know. But chaos is the standard. So it's great to see you, Bren. We'll keep you guys updated on the Big Ten Championship, the college football playoff, and all the coaching hire news coming down the stretch of the season. So thank you guys for tuning in to the Breneman and Butt Show. We'll see you next week.